Hello, this is Stephen McIver, and today I'm going to talk about the character of a church leader. This is a look at 1 Timothy and Titus on what a good church leader looks like. And so Timothy and Titus, these letters were written by Paul to these individuals, instructing them on what to look for in a good church leader as they were establishing churches. And 1 Timothy chapter 3 starts off with, "Whoever aspires to be an overseer desires a noble task. And an overseer, a leader, they must be above reproach, above anything that could put them to shame, having great integrity, faithful to his wife." Our verse for this is Ephesians 5:25. "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her." They need to be temperate and self-controlled, so whenever there's an argument, they need not be flying off the handle, not getting overly angry. They need to be respectable. They need to be hospitable, which is very important. In Proverbs 23:6-8, "Do not eat the bread of a man who is stingy. Do not desire his delicacies, for he is like one who is inwardly calculating. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. You will vomit up morsels that you have eaten and waste your pleasant words." And that does not sound like a loving neighbor in that verse. You don't want to be in a party with someone that's constantly talking about how much grief the party's causing them and how much money it's costing them. They need to be able to teach. The leader needs to be able to convey the message to who he's speaking to. Not given to drunkenness, not consuming excessive amounts of alcohol. Not violent, but gentle. Our verse for this is Psalms 11:5. "The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked, those who love violence, he hates with a passion." Not quarrelsome. In 2 Timothy 2:23-24, "Don't have anything to do with foolish and stupid arguments, because you know they produce quarrels. And the Lord's servant must not be quarrelsome, but must be kind to everyone, able to teach and not resentful." Not a lover of money and not going to accept bribes. 1 Timothy 6:10, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. For some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs." They must manage his family well. The children must obey him and manage his family in a way that is full of respect. In 1 Timothy 5:8, "Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." We must take care of our family first before taking care of others. It's kind of like putting on the oxygen mask on yourself before someone else. So in Titus chapter 1, this echoes much of 1 Timothy chapter 3. They must hold firmly to what trustworthy message they've been taught. They must encourage others by sound doctrine. They must refute those who oppose it. And Paul warns that many claim to know God, but their actions deny him. And we hear this in James 2:14-26, the most famous verses, but also in Luke 6:45. "A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of." So if we're reading our Bible, we're praying, we're loving our neighbor, good things are going to come out. If we're doing worldly things are going to come out of us. In Titus chapter 2, they're sound in faith and love and endurance. We're told not to be slanderers, not to talk down about people. And in your teaching, show integrity, seriousness. So it's okay to have a few jokes to kick off the sermon to make people laugh, but when we dig into God's word, we got to get serious. Soundness of speech that cannot be condemned, so that those who oppose you may be ashamed because they have nothing bad to say about us. The grace of God teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions. All right, and so finally, Titus chapter 3 and Romans chapter 13 talk about dual citizenship of heaven and earth, to know that we need to be subject to rulers here on earth. That has to be a character that the person needs to be able to submit to authorities. Romans 13:1, "Everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God." And then Jesus also kind of hints at this by telling us he's commanded us to pay taxes to rulers. In Matthew 22:19-21, he's telling the Pharisees, "Show me the coin used for paying the tax." They brought him a denarius, and he asked them, "Whose image is this?" And whose inscription? Caesar's, they replied. Then he said to them, so give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. All right, so that's it for the characters of a church leader. Thank you so much for listening. Talk to you soon.